So yeah, hello everyone. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're looking after yourselves. I think I've teased this. I don't know if I've teased this. It's been a long day. But we are with a new episode in Roundhouse again. But we're looking at a new podcast series called the Hustle Chronicles. Because as I'm sure you, our audience, know, as I'm sure, as uni students or whether you're just a recent graduate, entrepreneurism is the buzzword. Everyone's trying to either be an influencer, a content creator, or start their own business. So at Pick Up the Mic, as entrepreneurs ourselves, we thought rather than just, letting you guys see all the, YouTube adverts or like Instagram reels of this is how you get your first 100K in like 24 hours, we thought, why not best to bring on some entrepreneurs that we've either met, we know, we've seen them doing amazing work, and we're going to go into the real truth of entrepreneurism. We're going to talk about the highs, the lows, everything in between. We've sort of like done this with different podcasts, whether it's the Student Guide or Behind the Curtain, but now we're specifically dedicating a podcast series to all our entrepreneurs out there. And the good news with this is we can gladly say that we're going to be bringing on these entrepreneurs back on in the future to let you guys know how their journey's gone. But also, this is going to be we're trying new things, so it's going to be a bit different because even we're going to add the guest speakers will be able to interview me as well. It'll be like a trading conversation rather than like a typical like interview style stuff. I've been talking for ages now, and instead I haven't actually introduced our amazing guest speaker who's speaking here today. So I'm gonna hand over to our guest speaker. As I always say, I could do the introductions, but these guys are amazing people, so I don't want to undersell the amazing things that they're doing and the incredible things that they're doing, and especially with a series about entrepreneurism. How can I just take the spotlight from them? So instead I'm going to hand over to our amazing guest speaker. Could you let us know who you are, what you do, and your business?
Hey, so I'm Aphra. I started a women's health business. So it stemmed from my major project at uni. It's called Zera, and essentially it's for menopausal hot flushes, and it's for alleviating the symptoms of hot flushes. So it allows women to kind of like go about their everyday life and whilst experiencing the menopause, but in a way that allows them to live, I say live like, it's like some disease, it's not, but it allows them to feel comfortable in their everyday life, at work, at home, just down the street, in the shops, in a shopping centre. So that's essentially my product, my project, my business. And then I also wanted to focus it around empowerment of women. So making sure that through the product they felt empowered, so it's connected to an app. So the app allows them to feel empowered as well, community of women, and all of that. So brief summary.
No, thank you. I think, like I said, we're going to be diving into business and all of that stuff. But I think one thing to sort of like mention before we go further into this is let's start all the way back at the beginning because you are a design student, and the reason why I mentioned that is because I've mentioned this story on previous episodes, but through my sister, she was attending Imperial, and they have their own like entrepreneurial team, and they do entrepreneurial stuff. Brought someone in, and they basically were just like, I started a business about prosthetics. They were, funnily enough, a design student as well, and they were saying that their whole business just came about because they designed this prosthetic limb. I couldn't tell you anything about it. Like I said, that was a long time ago. But he designed this like prosthetic limb that he wanted to use, and he was just like, wouldn't it be like, his lecturer was just like, this is really good. Like, there's nothing in the market that exists like it. Like, if you wanted to start a business, make a business out of it. And then his whole advice was that there's a lot, especially with design students, because I think more so with design students than like other subjects, you're like, for most students, your final year project literally is just like a report or something. Like you just want to like, my master's one, like, let's
yeah, it's like flashbacks. Oh my god.
Honestly, like I look back on that time and I'm just like, I don't even know how I got.
We survived somehow, some way. Just
yeah, honestly, man. I just generally just like, when it was submitted, I was just like, like, I don't even need like an A. I was just like, as long as it's like God just lets me pass this. Like,
I just need to get my degree and get out.
Exactly. But yeah, he was saying like a lot of the design students, because you're designing products and then you showcase them. He said there are so many students that design all like we've got these creative ideas, they do all this stuff, and then they sort of just like say, cool, like I've submitted this coursework. I'm like I've graduated. The university can have it. And he was just like, there's so much like innovation, so much creativity. And I guess even to bring it outside of design, like I know through environmental science, like there were modules where you might have created a product, you might have like done like created a business idea, you might have like researched, like done a sustainable project in your own community. And there's so many like business ideas from it. And he was just like, so many people don't actually like actively go out and seek these like opportunities.
Yeah, I guess because it's scary also thinking about if you haven't done like a business degree or something where you learn about how to actually run a business or be an entrepreneur, people are like, I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm just not going to do it. And if they don't have like also like the support of people around them, people even at uni, like so at Brunel they have like entrepreneur hub, which is like very helpful in terms of even after you graduate, like helping you become an entrepreneur or start a business. When people don't know that or they don't know they have that, they're just like, I don't want to do it. I'm going to mess it up. Or like, I just don't want to like jump into that deep end kind of thing. But as a design student, it's like part of the course, you have to actually create something that would be a viable product. Like that's part of what you get marked on. So it's like you kind of, at the end of your degree, you have something that could potentially go into the market. So it wouldn't make sense. I know a lot of people just don't do anything with their degree, but it makes sense to try and go for it, especially if like you see the demand for it. Because you spent a whole year kind of creating this product and brand, like you have to do the branding and everything. You spend a whole year doing that and it's a viable product because, you know, you have to make it a viable product. It doesn't make sense to leave it, you know. So, but yeah, I think people, it's just a scary thing. Like thinking, even me, I'm like, I did a design degree. I don't really know like loads about business, but I'm like, you just gotta go for it. You find out things like as you go along. You learn as you go along. But yeah,
definitely. And yeah, this leads to, again, I like to name things, so hopefully by the time this episode comes out, I will come up with a name for it. But this is the first bit of advice, I guess, that we would say, because if you again, like I said, figuring out when this is all going to be released, but when our 50th episode for the Student Guide, the first podcast that started it all, comes out, I did an interview with someone from Foundervine called Indy Gordon, and she was saying one of the like key things she said is all about like literally what we're talking about here, shooting your shot. So our first advice would be shoot your shot. Be a wild thinker, because I think people sometimes feel like, oh, like if I'm thinking about like my business idea, or like we were saying here, like, so like for me, with two things. So with one, the first, like, I guess, business that I started, or like this first project that I started was a sustainable platform. And now I'd never run a fashion show in my life. My sister had attended some as like a designer, and then she'd modeled for some at uni. But I'd never done it before. But I was like, oh, sustainable fashion is something that I think people would like. They're getting into it. So yeah, I just was just like, cool, I'm going to do it. Now, was it as good as it could have been? No. Did I learn a lot from it? Yes. And even when I did the second one, like it was a lot better. We expanded. Even like with the podcast, like I always say it, the three of us who were the like original team, and myself, Samuel, and Anushka, we had no idea what we were doing. None of us had done any podcasting before. We'd never done like I'd done a bit of video editing. I'd never done audio editing. Even to this day, I wouldn't say I refuse to use it, but I just don't want to use it. Adobe Audition, I don't use.
Anything Adobe. Oh my gosh. As a design student, oh my gosh, Adobe is, I mean, I can't really say too much because I use Adobe in my job like every single day. But Adobe Audition, Premiere, all the video stuff, yeah, I understand, because it's like...
Tough.
You open it and there's just all these buttons. You don't know what's what. You're clicking stuff and something's deleted, and but you just gotta go for it.
No, 100%. Like even like literally like what you're saying. I was so for the first, I think, year, I had Adobe Audition. I had Adobe like the whole creative suite, because I'm generally missed to this day. It's not like official piece of advice, but if you do any sort of you want to use any Adobe product and you're currently a student, I'm telling you, please, Adobe as a student give you like a discount. I think it's like £16 for your first year, and then it's £24 once you're like first year as a student. Even if like you're still a student, after that first year, it then turns to 24, because like it's like when I see that money leave my bank account, I'm like, it hits the bank.
And if you're a design student, check if your uni will pay for it, because I know at Brunel, like, they gave us access to it whilst we were at uni, but thinking about paying it, it is a lot. So especially if you do a creative subject, usually, or sometimes, I can't say usually, but sometimes like the course will be like, okay, like we'll give you access through the uni. So check.
Yeah, 100%.
Save yourself £16.
Honestly, and like generally, it's like there's so many good things with it. Which I guess links. We can like move on to discussing it, because I think the tools of the trade are very important. Because I'm guessing, do you have like a background in tech, like using apps and stuff?
My degree, but not. So it's just like learning as you go along. My degree helped a lot in terms of, so we had like a UX UI module, so user experience, user interaction module, where we learned how to make apps. So and then obviously you do all the tech, you do all the electronics, you do all like the basic stuff as well, and then you have all the technicians to like help you as you go along. But in terms of like a background in tech, I wouldn't say I have a background in tech. I'm like purely just like creative design. So it is like learning as you go along. 100%.
Because even like you were saying, like so linking to the Premiere Pro thing I was saying is literally when I launched. So I had Premiere Pro for a year. I launched it the first time because I was like, because I've video edited for a long time. I was talking to my brother about it recently. Like I was the person that like if you go on YouTube, I think they're called like, basically you can like make, whether it's anime or like a lot of like some people do it Marvel, but you do like a music video and you use clips from like TV shows and films and you like get it to match. So for me, when I was younger, I was doing that all the time. I just loved it. It was fun, like video editing, making it all sync up and like using it. It was fun. So I was using, of course, what was it? Movie editor, Windows Movie Editor, and I was like, and I was like, I'm sick. I'm really good at video editing. I was like, I'm hearing about this Premiere Pro. Everyone's like, if you do video editing, like check it out. So I was like, cool, let me install it. I opened it, and I was like, God forbid,
it's a minefield.
I was like, they were just like, they've got workspaces, they've got this, and I was like, so you're giving me a tutorial? Your tutorial is not like. I took screenshots of everything. I was like, I'll go back and to this day, I've never read any of it. I was just like, come on, it's going to be so good. Like I was like, let me just screenshot this. Oh yeah, this is going to be good. To this day, I've never read anything on it.
Honestly, I think with a lot of those softwares, obviously the tutorials and stuff help. Like the tutorials that you have on the actual app help. And then the tutorials on YouTube and online, they help. But a lot of it is trial and error.
100%.
That is like one of the best ways to work. If you have the time, obviously. If you don't have the time, you need to do something quickly, watch a tutorial. But if like trial and error, because it means that you learn in your own way and at your own pace as well. So trial and error. But honestly, you open it and you're like...
You're just like, what's going on? What's going on?
And the tutorial's like, you click this, click this, click this, click this. Done.
You're just like, what's going on?
I don't know what I'm doing.
Honestly, it's the truth. So even like what you're saying, like for me, I only got into using Adobe Premiere Pro because where I did my, like generally like random stuff or something, like I said, it's only like God's pushing me to the right people, because when I did my summer placement after, so like I went to Tenerife, enjoyed myself, like did loads of stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, this was through Brunel. Bit of a
yeah, Brunel, you went to
yeah. So my call generally.
They didn't want to send us anywhere.
Yeah, like literally, I was there for like flagship thing. So for our course, and also I was the first year that my course started at Brunel, so a completely new course. I should clarify this. I never attended, and we can discuss this in our uni focus podcast. But yeah, I never attended the open day, so I had no idea about this trip.
Oh my god!
But literally, I applied for I got there, and they were just like, "Oh yeah, so in your first year, you're gonna go to Dorset," and I was like, "Okay, like it's Dorset, like
it's Dorset."
Yeah, I mean, it's still a trip. It's still a trip. So I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And they were just like, "You're gonna stay there for like I think 4 days," and it was okay. And then like the second year, they were just like, "Oh yeah, we're going to Tenerife," and I was like, "Wait, what? It's like, yeah, we're going to stay a week and like, there were issues with that trip. I might even need to do a whole episode digest. There were a lot of things that did not go the way it should, but for the most part, it was fun. I always joke, there's a when you suffer collectively with people, there's a shared like, oh, you know what, we're all going through this, like, there were a lot of issues.
Mutual bond.
Yeah, mutual bond, exactly, because you're all just like, gosh, am I the only one who's seeing, like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we went to Tenerife, so after I came back from Tenerife, I was working at the environment agency, doing a lot of stuff on like environmentalism and like city planning and stuff like that. And then, yeah, it was one of those things, like, so as a guy, it's never happened to me before, but girls, it happens all the time. You meet someone in the bathroom, you start talking.
Yeah.
Now, I think for the most part, it came because where the team I was in, like, we had like one floor in this like massive building. There weren't a lot of black people there. So again, if you see another brother or sister, you might be like, oh hey, like, wow, there's another one of us here. So literally, I met the guy and he was just like, oh hey, and I was like, hey, and then like we just like went our separate ways. Then I met him again and he was like, oh, like, I've seen you around like at the desk. I was just like, are you working here, whatever? And I explained like I'm on a placement, and I said like, oh, what do you do? And he said, oh yeah, I work for the comms team for DEFRA, so the Department of Environment, Food and Rural Affairs. He was like, yeah, I make all the videos, I use like all this software. And I was like, so do you use Premiere Pro? And he was like, yeah, I use it all the time. Like, I know how to use it. I know, like, if I don't understand stuff, I know the people to go to. So I literally, like, that day, I asked him, like, oh, would it be cool if at some point, like, I shadowed you for like a day or like 2 days to just learn, like, one, what you do, but two, like, I want to do video stuff, like, I want to know how to use Premiere Pro. So literally, like, I brought my laptop in, he showed me like all this like soft, like, showed me Premiere Pro, showed me how to use it, showed me how he uses it. He showed me like I didn't even know this, you can buy, so like, obviously this is a webcam, but you can buy for your camera like a, what was it? It's like a, basically, so you know, like a teleprompter, like the usual ones that get like on TV.
Yeah.
You can buy one where you literally like turn your phone into a teleprompter and you just slot, like, it's something you can buy for around your camera, and then the text will go on top of the camera as it's like, it will scroll up on your phone. You'll see it, and then you'll just be like, okay, now I'm like, you'll literally be looking at the camera. It won't look like you're reading off something, and it'll just be. And he was just like, yeah, and he was just like, oh yeah, it's like really cheap. Like, the camera obviously is expensive, but he was just like, this attachment is like so cheap, and I was just like, say swear, like, he's like, yeah, it's really good. So literally, like what we're saying here, sometimes you just gotta like learn on the fly, and even like. Today, I'm not like a Premiere Pro. I'm a lot more confident in when I started. After Effects, give me a couple months. After Effects throws me. They're just like, the tutorial again throws. It's just like, oh yeah, you just got to add this and this, and I'm like, you know, I see all these people make stuff on After Effects, and I'm like, damn, this is kind of cool.
How do they? Honestly,
like, how do they do it?
Yeah, we had to make a video in part of our final year project.
Yeah.
So part of our project, we had to make a video alongside. So they wanted a physical product, they wanted a report, they wanted a working version, they wanted a video. None of us had used like After Effects, Premiere. They said, yeah, here's Adobe. Make the video. So you have to use people around you. That sounds bad. Don't use people. No. Don't use people. But like, connections that you have, so important. Meeting people in the bathroom, meeting people at events, like, or people on your course, like, if you're still at uni, like, you've got to use the people around. I keep saying use the people around you, but you know what I mean. You know, connect with them. Yeah. Like, yeah, if they can help you with something, then don't just be like, oh yeah, hi, bye. Like, actually interact with them and make the effort to, you know, because then they help you with something, and then you can give something back to them 100%. As well. So it's like, but yeah, use people around you. Don't be scared of what you see. If you open it, you don't know what you're doing. It's fine. You'll get it.
100%. And yeah, it's just like you said, like, just trial and error, just testing things out. I'm gonna leave it there. I'm just getting all the flashbacks of Adobe, and I'm just like,
I am as well.
I'm just like, gosh. And even like my sister, she, like, for one of the businesses she runs, she asked me to make her a logo because obviously, like, she made it on Canva, and I was like, oh yeah, cool. She was like, if I want to make money from it, I need to have like my own logo. Now, like I said, the Adobe, the Premiere Pro is the only one to this day I would say I'm confident in. Photoshop, I just let it do all the stuff automatically. And the same with Lightroom, because I'm just like, you know what you're doing. I'm like, you know what you're doing. Like, it's cool. I'll leave you to it. But yeah, no. What is it? It's not Illustrator. Yeah, Illustrator.
See, those are the ones I can use. InDesign, Illustrator, Photoshop. Those are the three. The rest of them.
Man, like when you're just like, because I imagine all I was designing is a bee, and if you've not used Illustrator, right, it's not like you're like, first of all, when you're just like, oh yeah, I need a bee on the logo, I was like, oh cool, like I can just import a bee.
No.
And they were just like, I looked into it, they was like, nah, if you want to make a bee, you got to make the shapes. So I was like, cool. Yeah. Now, obviously, bees have got like stripes on them. You got to think about the legs and stuff. So like for me, I think I spent like half a day just trying to, because she was literally just like, oh, like the bee looks good, but like, oh, you can see like some of the stripes like come off the body, so it looks kind of weird, or like the legs aren't in the right way, or like I think I gave it an eye. I gave like a white dot and said like, oh, that's the eye. She was just like, oh, but like it doesn't look like symmetric. And I was just like, generally, I told her afterwards, like, I was just like, please, like, just never ask me to do this again.
You see, that day you felt how it was to be a designer, because that is what we go through. Literally every single day. It's like, can you do this? Okay, we'll design it. Go back for feedback. Oh yeah, can you change this? Can you change that? Can you change that? It's like all back and forth feedback. So yeah, you know how it is, how it feels to be a designer now. Honestly, from that one day.
Honestly, but yeah, from then I'm just like, you know what? If I ever use a graphic designer, I'm gonna be like, you know what? Just please, like, I know it's a lot of work to ask, but just please, I get where you're coming from now. But yeah, let's talk a bit more about the business. Where did the idea come from? Because yeah, I mean, like, I'm assuming, like, I might be wrong, but like menopause is usually something that happens to people later on in life. Yeah. It's not something that happens to young women. So where did the idea come from? Why did you decide, like, especially if you're finding your project, why did you decide that's where you wanted to go into?
So the kind of like inspiration came from observing my mum's experience with the menopause. So I did like a bit of research into what I wanted to do for my major project. And during London Design Week, actually, I went to an exhibition, and there was an exhibition about women's health and the menopause. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I've literally like observed my mum going through it. So it'd be such an interesting thing to explore and see how I can like create a product that isn't necessarily out there already. So yeah, it came from, watching my mum's experience, seeing that there's not many solutions that are like non-invasive. And also not necessarily have to be prescribed, and there's not many very accessible solutions. So one of the main solutions is hormone replacement therapy. And obviously a lot of women don't necessarily want to like put more hormones into their body, so they don't opt for that solution. And aside from that, it's kind of all like, oh yeah, change your diet, change what you eat, exercise more, sleep more, take multivitamins, things like that. But there's not a physical product that will be like, okay, if you're having this symptom, then you can use this product and it will help relieve that symptom. So yeah, that's where the initial inspiration came from. And when I kind of like presented it to my mum initially, I was like, oh yeah, I'm thinking of doing something. She's like, yeah, you need to definitely, like, it's such a big thing that happens, to like 50% of the population, but it's such a thing that isn't talked about enough. It is kind of now in like this day and age, it's starting to be talked about more. There's like programs and books and stuff about it, and podcasts as well. But it's not something that's really, really spoken about as much as it should. So yeah, it was. Yeah, that's where really inspiration came from. That's really
cool. No, definitely. And I think sometimes people forget, another piece of advice. Because sometimes people think like, oh, like my business has to come from like, I don't know, like, something big, like, I've got to like come up with the next, like, I don't know, like solution for AI or something something crazy like this. And it's just like, no, literally you just need to think of like what's, I think for my master's, for our entrepreneurship module, which is funny because imagine like people are just like, I'm an entrepreneur, and then you get taught like a module on it. But he was literally saying the reason like entrepreneurs come and their businesses come about because they're just like, what is an issue I'm facing in my life? What's a problem that I'm facing? And then how can I turn around and be like, okay, this is an issue. This is what the fix could be. And is there a current solution? If there is, how can I improve upon it? And if there isn't, why is my solution like the best one? which, like you said, from what you were saying, like it's very clear that like there's like the other options are not the best one.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely agree.
Yeah, that's exactly what the process is for, well, creating a new product is like looking at what the gap in the market is because you can't, I mean, you can if you want to, but it doesn't make sense to create something that already exists, that's already really, really successful, because yours is just going to be the one behind that. It has to have some sort of USP, unique selling point. Design student. Yeah. So it has to have something that's unique to it. But yeah, that is the process, like looking at what's out there and finding that point in the market where you can be like, okay, my product can sit in there. But yeah.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think like sometimes people forget that like it can literally just be as simple as like, I don't know, like something small within my community.
Yeah.
And then it can build upon there. Because yeah, I know some stories that I'm going to mention now. So like with Jeff Bezos and Amazon, it literally it wasn't like, oh yeah, like he got loads of money and like started selling stuff immediately. No, it was literally like within his community. I think he was saying like he literally just sold books within his community. So Amazon was just like a local thing within his local community, and he would go and like if someone wanted to, like if he had books, he would sell it. But if someone wanted to sell books, they would pay him to be on Amazon and sell their books or sell their stuff. And then it like brought in business, it brought in money, people were interested, then it expanded. I think a big one that I mentioned, especially like with this idea of like, and we're going to go into it next, of like success and failure, is the ring, like the mobile, I don't know what they actually call it, but like the ring, the doorbell,
yeah.
Because that, to me, I think, as a story, is like really good for two reasons. One, it's kind of funny how the story ultimately ends, or like where it gets to now. But also, it's really interesting with like how, as an entrepreneur, he like developed. Because the person who designed it, he had this. So he came onto Shark Tank. He pitched the idea to them, and then I think there's 4. There might be 5 sharks. I've never watched Shark Tank, but I think most of the sharks were just like, no, like your idea doesn't make sense. It's not really good. I think they were just like, there's a lot of things that exist similar to it, so there's nothing really like unique about yours. And then there was one shark that was just like, okay, I'll invest, but like I want like either it was like I want like I don't know like a lot of equity in the company, and the person was just like, I'm good, like I'm gonna walk away, like I don't desperately need it to be like, it's a good enough idea, I'm gonna find someone. And then I think a year or a couple of months later, he I don't know how he met Sir Richard Branson, but
wow.
Yeah, so Richard Branson found out about it. He pitched it to Sir Richard Branson, and then he was just like, "Yeah, this is really good. I want to invest in it. I'm going to invest." I don't think he took as much equity, but I think he maybe something to do with the profits he took. But he took like the agreement was better than the one he had before, so he agreed to it. The business got funded, it grew. Now it's like, as people know, super successful. Like they have a wide range of like products and services available. So they've got, I know like a friend of mine had one for like just in the house looking after pets. They've got ones for inside the house and outside. You can use it like internationally, so you can see like who's in front of your door when they ring the, like there's a lot now that it does. And then funnily enough, like he came back onto Shark Tank as a shark who could invest in like someone else's business.
Wow.
And it was funny because like he came back on. All the sharks that said no and like wanted to like take a lot from his business, they were all there. He sat with them. And I think what I like about it is especially like talking about entrepreneurism, there's always this like idea that you have to be like, oh, like I gotta be like cold, I gotta be like the hardest person in the room, I can't be humble. And it's just like sometimes I think before I would have said no, like sometimes you always have to be humble. And I agree that you should be humble. Yeah. But I think also sometimes you've just gotta be, I've never watched The Wire, but I saw this clip, and it's something that I personally like. My dad said it. He didn't get it from The Wire, but my dad said it. And like I've joked, Nigerians, like we're known for our like catchy sayings, and we like drop dimes. Yep. And like my dad was just like, sometimes you don't need to be the loudest in the room. If someone's insulting you or doesn't believe in you, you don't need to say anything. Just be like, cool.
Yeah, you just got to be confident in what you're doing, like confident in your own thing. Like even with like my product now, like I could say there was so many times when my tutor was like, like, why does it go on your neck? Oh, why is it so small? Why is the design so simple? And after leaving uni, So actually, that was one of the things like in my dissertation that I got marked down on was the design's too simple. And I was like, but my whole project is about it being discreet and about it being like simple and stuff. But when I left uni, one of the biggest like feedbacks that I got from like women who were going through the menopause or like people in women's health was, oh, I love the product because of how...
Sorry. We've hit the... Let me just...
Okay, so yeah, one of the things that I got told, like, when I was making my product or when I was going through, like, the whole project during uni, final year, was, oh, yeah, it's so simple. But once I left uni, a lot of people who were in the industry, femtech industry, women's health industry, were like, I love how simple it is because it's so different from anything you see on the market that's like, oh, yeah, this is this big thing, this is going to solve this. Like, it's so discreet. So you have to make sure that you're confident in if you're presenting something in what you present or what you're creating, because just because someone is like this big person, whether they're, a uni tutor or they're like some investor, just because they say, oh yeah, I don't like it or I don't think this is going to work, it doesn't mean it's not. You just have to have that confidence and know that you're going to push it. So yeah, don't let anyone say, if you're sure about something, don't let anyone be like, oh, unless it's good advice.
100%.
If it's good advice, then yeah. But if you can back up someone, so someone's saying, oh yeah, this is so simple. If you can back it up and be like, yeah, I want it to be discreet, then don't change it. Just be confident.
No, 100%. And even like what you're saying, like I mentioned it in another episode that, like, for me, like I said, I'm a big Marvel fan. I'm a big comic book fan.
Love Marvel. It's just Marvel over DC. Yeah,
no, 100%. 100%. Yeah, we will definitely bring you on to our to our comics podcast. But no, 100%. Because Stan Lee, like, I don't know, I've never actually watched the full thing, but he did a like talk about like the creation of Spider-Man, and he was told, like, when he pitched the idea, he was like, yeah, he's a teenager. He's got the powers of a spider, stick to walls, shoot webs, all of this stuff. And they were just like, this is the dumbest, like, this doesn't make any sense. Why would people... Because they were just like, at the time, like, you had Batman who, like, all the main like, if you were a main superhero and not a sidekick, you were an adult. And they were just like, also, because like Batman, adult, Captain America, Iron Man, Superman, all of them were like adults. So they said being like a scrawny kid, like nerdy kid, won't sell. Then they were just like, oh,
wow,
yeah,
they were wrong.
Like, we'll get onto it, but like, even I saw something saying, like, out of all the comic book superheroes based on like video games, films, TV shows, toys, like all of this, Spider-Man's the most profitable superhero across every medium.
Wow.
But yeah, they were just like, no, it won't make sense. Then they were just like, powers of a spider. People don't like spiders. Like, I mean, also, no offense, I'm trying to read, like, no one likes bats, but you got a bat. But I mean, I know he's got not got powers, but you got Batman. But yeah, they were just like, no one's gonna like it because people don't like spiders. Like, he's sticking to walls, shooting webs. Like, it doesn't make sense. It's just like weird. But he was just like, no, like, I really liked it. I like the idea. Like, this guy is, and I think I liked that he said as well with Spider-Man. Spider-Man wears a mask, and he was just like, the reason why I like Spider-Man wearing, because again, I think that was the third thing. They were just like, why is he wearing a mask? Like, you've got like, either wear like a half mask like Batman, or you've got a superhero like Superman who doesn't wear a mask at all. And even though I've repeatedly said, I mean, they add back, like, again, I could go into this whole comic book thing, but I won't, because we're all about entrepreneurship today. But even like with the whole thing of like Superman like wearing glasses and stuff, and like change, anyways,
that doesn't make sense. You don't know he's Superman just because he's got...
Nah, you know what it is? They add, there's a bit of logic that's added, but they don't explain it. So, like, very briefly, I'll say, like, they say, like, oh, because so in some comic books, they're like, oh, his glasses change his eye color. Then they said, and then they're just like, literally, even, like, when he walks around with, like, a hunchback. He wears, like, baggy clothes so people can't see his muscular.
See,
the movies don't say this.
They don't.
And they're just like, he just, like glasses off, cha! But yeah, they were saying with Spider-Man, like, why is he like completely covering his face? Doesn't make sense. And he said, so one about the like teenage thing, he was just like, no, like, I want young people to also see, like, they can be superheroes, they can have tough times, they can like develop, they can grow, they can like, do what they want and not feel like it's like life's impossible for them. But then he was just like, the second thing, and he said to him, the most important thing is like, especially with the mask, is that anyone should like see, like I said, Peter Parker is obviously white, but he was just like, when he's wearing that mask, he wants people, anyone of any background, of any origin, to be like, I can relate to Peter Parker, because I've said it and I'll say it again, that any Spider-Man, but particularly Peter Parker, has a tough life. And whether you're talking about films, comic books, games, this brother has a tough life. And I think people like say like, and I think that's why I like him, I like Spider-Man a lot, is that relatability of he goes through like so much, he carries a lot of responsibility, but obviously the age-old classic of with great power comes great responsibility. So linking it back to entrepreneurism, like, I think like what Stanley was saying, sometimes you just got to be like, if you can see where like your idea, why it's going to work, like we said, you got stuff to back it up. Like go ahead and do it, because there will be, even like with the podcast, there are people who are just like, or like who said to me like, it's a really good idea, but I don't really see like how it's going to work, or like, man, people like, people have said it. But like I said, bringing it back to you don't always respond to everything. Like my dad was just like, sometimes you just got to be quiet. And for me, I find it super funny because I just look back on, especially like I said, like doing my speech at graduation, I look back on that and I'm just like, you know what? Like I got to talk about my business on stage. And I got to like talk about what I do. I got to share my passion with like, and it might have just been people in the audience, but I shared it online. I shared it on LinkedIn. I shared it on Instagram, and I was just like, people messaged and said like this guy's talking the truth. Like he's like, I feel motivated, and I was just like, you know what? Sometimes you just got to be like that. You got to be like, you don't believe in it, cool. Like I don't care.
Yeah, like you do you, but I'm gonna do me, and I'm gonna be successful.
Exactly.
So, you know.
And like sometimes you just got to be like, you know, you might just be like, oh, like also I will just say it, man. Like sometimes people are just gonna hate. Like
honestly, there's gonna be so many people who are just there to drag 100%. You down, but you've got to just like look at where you're going, know exactly what you want to do, and just don't let them like interfere with what you're doing. Because the worst thing is like knowing that you want to get somewhere and just letting people like, you know, inject themselves into your brain. Oh, you're this, you're that. Oh, it's not gonna work. Da, 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 da. Just do it. 100%. Just do it. Just do it.
But yeah, 100%. Because like the amount of like, there is a. I forgot what it's called. I'll put like a picture of it. But there's like a book I bought my dad, which is about like 100 businesses and how they started. And literally, like you said, Nike's in there, McDonald's in there. Like KFC, like I'll briefly talk about KFC, like literally even like my dad was saying, so Colonel Sanders like started, also I find it funny because like some guys are just smart with their marketing, because Colonel Sanders never became a colonel in like the army or like in the armed forces, but I don't know how he coined the name, but he coined it, made it work, no one complained, and like it sticks to this day. But yeah, literally he got, like I think my dad was saying, when he got into his, I think it was his 50s, he became basically like bankrupt. Like he was a millionaire, lost all his money.
Wow.
And then I think when he was 60, I think it was when he was 60, that's when he started like KFC. And then it just popped off and it grew. So my dad was saying like within those 10 years, like he basically dropped from being a millionaire and then came back. And now like KFC is worldwide. It's like very popular. It brings in a lot of money. And he was just like, sometimes you just got to be like that. Like people might not see where you're going, but you just got to be like, you know, I don't care. I'm like, I know it's gonna work.
Exactly.
And just, it's gotta be wild. But we talked about successes and failures. If you want me to go first, I can go first.
Well, yeah, because you're an entrepreneur as well. So like, obviously, we're sitting here. Like, this is your business. Yeah. So like, what would you say your successes and failures have been? Also, like doing it kind of like out of uni as like a graduate. Like, how has that been?
You know, successes. So I always say I can't do like top ones because I'm the worst if you ask me to pick one thing. So I always do top threes, which it's just easier. So I'd say my 3 top things, successes are number 1, currently working with Brunel's film and TV department to run. So film students and TV production students have to do 70 hours filming as a part of like it's not like a work, actual, like they take time off uni and work within their final year, but they have to do like filming. I didn't even know about this until like a friend of mine asked if she could do it last year.
Okay.
And then she brought on a friend and like both of them were amazing help. So I literally just reached out to the heads of their departments and were just like, hey, look, like I'm still going to be doing filming. Can we like work together? If you want to do the same arrangement, we can. And yeah, now I'm happy to say like we've now done that again. So we've got 2 interns for this academic term.
Wow.
We're going to look and see if we need to like change, because I know that we may rotate them, we may just keep them on. But yeah, so literally like they're going to be doing filming, and there should be a post about it soon. But yeah, that definitely is one of my successes, because like if you told me that from the start, like filming's a lot.
Yeah, sometimes you can't, like at the beginning, you can't necessarily see where it's going to be like in the future. You just got to like just do it again. Just do it.
But yeah, so that definitely has to be one of my top 3. My second one, you know what? At the time it sucked, but getting to 100%, like it really peed me off. But getting to the final for the venture competition. So I mentioned it before that Brunel run a funding competition every year. You can win. Like it can get a bit confusing because like the prize says like up to like 15k or 10k, but it's like you win. So like one person wins like the majority of that money. Then like people, then it's like divided up into different things. So for the one I went for, I think it was. What was it? I think it was like 2. There were 2 prizes of 5k. I think that was it. 2 prizes of 5k, 2 prizes of 2k, and then like 1k was the like last prize. Or not like last prize, but was the smallest amount of funding you could get. So I'd applied for it I guess 2 academic years ago. And I got past the first stage. When it came to like so you submit a video pitch, which obviously for the podcast, like I do video editing anyway. So it just started off as a very basic thing of me just like speaking to a camera and just saying, this is my business. This is what, and then I just added like some fun pop-ups to come on the screen and stuff. So I got past the first stage. When it came to the business model canvas and like how you're going to bring in money and why it's viable and stuff like this, like I didn't get past that stage. And obviously like it sucked, but I was like, cool. So last academic year, I applied again. Got past it. So the video pitch, I was just like, I could use the same video, but then I was just like, no, I want to like reinvent the whole thing. Yeah. So in my typical like I say, I'm not saying I'm a madman, but I do wild thinking. Like I was just like, you know what, I'm changing the game. I was like, we're gonna do like I was like literally almost like a director. I was like, I've got this video planned and all of this, and there was some stuff I wasn't able to do because I don't know how to do it, and the person who was helping me with the video editing, he didn't know how to do it. But I was like, cool, let's just work with what we got. So I think it's currently out as our like pick up the mic show reel. But that was the video pitch that I did. So I got a friend. Literally, it was like imagine like. And after like, I can say this now that I've left, but it's like during my lunch break at work. So I was doing my placement at Brunel. Like during my lunch break, I was just like, okay, I've got this idea. The video submission is coming up. I need to get all the video, like everything needs to be recorded today. And I was like, because I think the deadline was the following Tuesday. So I was like, at most I've got a Monday to try and fix everything. So literally it was just like that day I was like, okay, cool. So this is the plan. Like I had the script. I like wrote like where we're going to do stuff. I highlighted it. I went through it with the like videographer, and then we were just like, cool, we're going to just like record stuff. So within the Wilfred Brown and like Michael Sterling building, I was just, yeah, I know that.
Hey, I spent my life there.
But literally like the whole, like the ground floor, I was like running around like filming stuff.
Oh my God.
Like I had a clip-on microphone and I probably will do a video of like how to do like recordings and stuff. So I literally was like recording the audio with like a microphone connected to my phone. The video was recorded with the camera, running around like both atriums and like some of the like where the dome is. So I ran, so I literally did a recording in there. How
did you get access?
So see, this is another thing about like this is why you got to know people, because my old manager. So literally with my undergrad placement, I worked. Like I was working with the STEM team there, and they've got card access.
Yeah, they do.
So when I spoke to my manager, I was like, my old manager, I was like, so I've got this plan. Is it cool if I use the space to record? And she was like, I have no issue. Like as long as no one's using it, I have no issue. So literally, like that afternoon, like I rushed to the Wilfred Brown, Michael Sterling, did loads of recording. Like went up and you know the stairs, like where where Wilfred Brown is, like if you're Bruno children, you know what I'm talking about. You know where the stairs are, both the one in the Michael Sterling section, like the curved stairs that go up.
Yeah, the one
I did a recording there.
Okay.
As well as like, you know the one for Wilfred Brown, like the lead up.
The big one.
Yeah, the big ones. Yeah. So I did recordings there. Like all these people just like sitting down at lunch were just like, what's going on? But I ran and recorded all of this. Then I like edited it, like added captions, all of this stuff. Then like sent it off. Then got past the first stage again. I was like really excited. Came to the second stage and I was like, cool, I need to really figure out like what am I going to do? How am I going to show like it's going to work? So when I got past this like second stage, I think I submitted it a bit late, like close to the deadline. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, like how like is this the best work I could have done? Things like that. Then I got past that stage and I was like, oh, you know what? Sick. I'm in the final. Great. And then they were just like, yeah, it's going to be like a presentation. I think, was it a 2-minute present? No, I think it was a 5-minute presentation. So was it 5 minutes or 10 minutes? You know, I don't remember, but it was like a presentation, short presentation, had to do about your business, how the funding would benefit you, like what your target audience are, how it's going to grow, all this stuff. So with that, again, like I was saying, I was like doing my placements. So I was working during the week. Like I spoke to people on the team. Funnily enough, within my department, the entrepreneur hub were there. So literally they were just like, how are you finding like stuff going? And I was like, yeah, it's going well. Like just trying to like plan out my time and stuff. Literally after work, I was doing practices with my like my old manager who looks after the STEM team. So literally like she was just like, yeah, this is good. Like we could do this. And then even like the week, I think either 2 weeks or the week of the actual like pitch. I think it was the week before and then 2 weeks before. I actually went to the space twice and did like a practice in the space to just see like how it would work, how I could like where I should stand, things like that.
Yeah.
Now I look back on it and I'm like, I was definitely, I think mainly because like I was either the last person or the second last person to do the pitch, which I had no issue with. But I think it was just like that practice, because to me, I personally wouldn't have. I like I work on the fly, so.
Wow. I can't, as in presentation.
Yeah.
Just on the.
So no. To be honest, so like people are just like, I should have a script. So I had a script, but now I look back on it and I'm just like, yeah, I would have probably prefer, because with the script it was hard because you had the cue cards and I was looking and like obviously you can't just stare at the cue cards, and I could have stayed where like the podium is and like had a script, but then they were just like, no, we good like if you're away from it so people can see all of you, there's nothing blocking you. And I was just like, yeah, trying to flip the cue cards, and then also it was annoying because I had a clicker, but then the clicker was mucking up, so I was literally just like, I'm trying to flip the cue cards, trying to click the
all at once.
So I look back on it, I'm just like, it wasn't the best thing. But I think personally, and I like even when the entrepreneur hub was speaking to me afterwards, they were just like, oh, well, how do you feel like it went? And I was like, you know what? I was like, I know it's a bit sad that I didn't win, but I was like, to actually know that like I got to the final, and like I'm proud with like how things went. So even this year when it comes to like, applying for it again, like I now know like the video is the one thing I'm just like, I'm gonna have to figure out what I'm gonna do. It's gonna be harder because I'm not Brunel, so I'm gonna have to figure out what I'm gonna so I'm yeah, you'll see it when it comes out. But yeah, I've got to figure out all of that. But with the pitch and all of this stuff, like I've now, like I was very happy. Like looking back on it, I'm just like, yeah, I was a finalist, and like this was my second time of applying. So I was just like, you know, I'm perfectly happy with after just 2 goes, like. I've gotten that far.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, that I would say is the second thing. Then the last thing, or last success, and then I'll go into the failures. I don't know.
I know it's like when you're put on the spot, it's like, but when you're not put on the spot, you can be like, done that and that.
Jeez. You know what? Actually, I'll say it. So we've got like affiliate links with different like organizations. So I think for me, getting the affiliate links was good. Yeah. Because now, especially when people are just like, and I think because we didn't have it before, and like within at least this year, we've got how many got? I think we've got either 2 or 3, and they're all from like different fields. So for me to even like come back and be like, oh yeah, we've got affiliate, like now with this new application, I can be like, yeah, we've got affiliate links. We still got like our Patreon page, but we work with like other organizations to promote them and their services that can support like people. So to look back on that and be like, yeah, like big organizations just like, yeah, I'm going to give you like an affiliate link. And also, sorry, this is what I should have said actually as the final one. Yeah, because I literally forgot about it. I told, like, literally what you said.
On the spot.
I completely forgot about it. How do I mention? So founder of mine, I mentioned them before, we're doing a podcast episode with them that should be out soon. They, for the first time ever, did this like Changemaker Award.
Okay.
And they were just like, you can nominate yourself as an individual, as a business, and then I forgot what the other one was. But I nominated both myself and Pick Up the Mic, and got some like family friends to do it as well. And yeah, so first off, we got selected to actually be one of the finalists, and I was like, okay, that's kind of nice, kind of cool.
Yeah.
Then the big surprise was then when the voting started, so like we were literally just like, okay, like I don't know, but so my old STEM manager, like I said, she's amazing, and I'll go on to this like what the type of person she is and why you need it for your business later. But she like shared it in her like every group chat she's in. She shared it on LinkedIn.
Wow. That's what you need.
That's
you
what
need someone who's gonna push you. Like, obviously, yeah, you have your friends and family, like, but you need someone outside of them as well who's gonna really push you.
Yeah, 100%. And even like my mum, like I joke about it because like she was just like sending it to like she's in like every group chat she's got.
WhatsApp.
Yeah, 100. All the aunties, all everyone. So she was just like, oh, cool. Like, so just to let you know, like, my son's been like, he's been selected as a part of this. Like, if you can vote, it's like very short. You need to do selectors business. And then like, she even convinced like her colleagues as well. So she was just like, oh, like, and like she was like those, like both of them were just sharing it everywhere. So when I even found out I got into the final 5, like that to me was just like, because honestly the whole time I was just like, oh, you know what, like should I like pay to promote the posts? Should I be doing more posting about it? But then I was just like, you know what, I don't want to just like drown people in, yeah, I'm a finalist, vote for me.
Yeah.
So I was just like, you know, I'll just let the community do their own thing. But yeah, to get to the final 5, like to me, and especially again, like this was the first time they ever did their Changemaker Awards. They'd never done an award ceremony like this before, but to get to the final 5 and just like, like I said,
so good.
Yeah, and to not be a business that's only operated for like, well, we're not a registered business, but like, so the tax man doesn't come after me, but yeah, like it's something we've done for like 2 years to then see like people actually be like, oh yeah, no, like we want to vote for them because like they're actually doing interesting work.
Yeah.
So those would be my 3 successes.
Wow.
Yeah, wow.
Really good success.
Thank you.
4.
Yeah, 10, but yeah, they've been the most fun, and it's made me like really like. I mean, I do enjoy what I do with the podcast, anyways. But like, it was really good doing those stuff. But yeah, I guess failures. Yeah, I guess like one would be especially, I guess, like I said, now looking back on it, you can, there's a bit of like hindsight, so you can see it as like a good thing. But obviously at the time, like not winning the funding, not winning the like the awards and stuff like that, and getting that recognition, because I think that, as I'm sure you know, as I'm sure anyone in the audience will know, like when you're starting a business, like you're just like, cool, so funding is what I need. And you're looking everywhere.
That's me right now. So like, obviously like I'm saying like business entrepreneur, but I'm still very much like just out of uni. Like I only graduated like 4 months ago. So still very out of uni. Is very much like a startup, and even thinking about where am I going to get funding from, people are like, oh yeah, you need to be established as a company, you need to have this to get funding. And it's like, you want to get the funding, but you also need to know where you're putting that funding, because if you get the funding and then you don't do anything, they're going to be like, so you have our money and you haven't done anything. But sorry.
No, 100% no. Like it's the truth, and even like for us, so like we said, like especially like I was speaking to the person I was speaking to about the podcast, Indy, like she was mentioning it there that like like as not being registered as a business, like people are just like, why should I give you money? Because like you don't have that, like there's not that security, there's not that legal security that like, oh, like we said, like if you don't use the funding, like I can't then be like I gave you this money, we had an agreement, like you got to do something. So like I think for me, like you're trying to get all these awards and all this funding so you can like grow the business, you can like do more things. And I think especially, like I said, I'm a wild thinker, so like I'm like, oh, I've got all these events planned, I've got all this stuff I want to do, but I'm just like, the main thing is just getting the funds, because trying to get that do it off your own back is tough. It is like, and the thing is, like, I think people always, and I that's one of the reasons why I wanted to start a series, because I was like, a lot of people feel like all these like entrepreneurs and stuff like this, like everyone's just like, oh no, they had like an easy life, or like, oh, things just lined up, and like I don't want to, like this is the truth. It is not, like it is hard. Like you'll be applying, and like I think even like my dad was saying it, like it's so annoying sometimes because you're like you'll stay up late, you're like do all this like practice pitching, and then to just be like, oh yeah, nah, sorry, like we've got another business. Like I said, it's like getting rejected from a job, but this is worse because obviously like with a job, it's like there's more. I personally feel like there's more of a chance of you getting a job than you getting like the funding you need for your business.
Exactly.
Because everyone's applying for that funding.
Everyone's applying for funding, and then it's like, yeah, you get the funding, what you do with it, like knowing what you do. But with a job, if you don't like get a job you want, you apply for the next job.
Exactly.
But with funding, it's like apply funding, and everyone's applying for funding, and it's like, well, what's different about me? Well,
but yeah, no, 100%. But yeah, I'd say so. That's the biggest like. Oh, I wouldn't say. I'd say that's one of the failures that I've experienced. But I think one thing that I think is good about it is like I've always said with the stuff that I'm doing now, and even we're doing as a team. So like our audience will know we did interviews at Comic-Con in the May one. We're doing interviews in the one in October. Did interviews at an anime event, and for me, I've said I want to show people that like. For free, this is what we're doing. Like, this is what Pick Up the Mic can do. This is like, again, probably we'll dump it in that video. But yeah, that's the stuff that we've all done when we haven't received any funding or sponsorship. And I want to turn around and be like, hey, look, like, if you were to give us money, this is how far it could even go for you.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I feel like there's like, especially, I think something that people generally, like what we're saying here, like, and it links to my next, like I said, I'll think of a name. But the next thing I want to talk about, because I think kind of like what we discussed here, again, I don't remember who said it, but if I ever do, I'll let you guys know. But you need, the person was saying, you need to have a plug. You need to have someone that's like putting your, because it's all good and all like you're sharing all of this, you're posting this on LinkedIn, you're like getting all this, your name out there. But you need someone who, when you're not in a room or you're not even like in a space, they're the person that's just like, you need this person, you need this person, you need this person. So yeah, my old manager, like I say, especially within Brunel, like some of the people that were on the podcast, some of the people I contacted about working to do podcasts together, like she was the person that was just like, oh no, like you need to get him onto the podcast. Even my speech at graduation, she was the person, like I asked her, like, I literally just said like, like I told her like, I want to do this, like I'd love to do a speech graduation. And here I'm thinking like, you know,
it's gonna be like,
we'll see, and I have to wait till like I built a name for myself. And she was just like, no, like let's see if you can do it this year. Like, you know, a lot of people at Brunel, like I've like literally, if I was still there to this day, I would have been there for over 6 years at Brunel. Yeah, undergrad and master straight away.
Brunel. Wow.
Yeah, man. Like, generally, I look back on it and I'm just like, 6 years. When I deeped it, I was just like 6 years. And I did 2-year-long placements with that. So I did one in my third year of my undergraduate, and then one after, like, for masters, it's a lot easier because literally you do all the academic stuff and then you go on placement and then you just do your report and then you graduate. But literally, like, because I was just like, undergraduate, I didn't know what I was doing. And I thank God that I did a placement, because the year that...
Do a placement, guys.
Do a placement.
Side note, do a placement. If you can.
Because generally, like, for me, when I did... So one, I mean, it worked worked for many things because, like I said, I found my plug at Brunel. Like, she's sharing my name when I'm not there. But also, like, I look at, like, how how life would have been different, because the year I would have graduated is when COVID would have hit. So when I was on placement...
Oh my gosh, that was my first year. When COVID... uni was COVID.
Honestly, man. Because I look at it and I'm just like, literally, when I would have graduated and I would have just gone straight in, like, I would have been like, where am I going to work? What am I going to do? I've not got any work experience. I've only got like a 3-month placement that I did. And I was like, I could try and reach out to them. So when COVID hit and they were just like, I was like, you know what? It's cool, man. Like, I'll come back to final year. And then even like, I think I was thinking like, maybe I should go and work and then come back and do a master's. But I was like, you know what? Like, I probably won't do a master's if I leave Brunel. So I was like, let me just apply, do my master's again. The one at Brunel really interested me, so I stayed at Brunel. But yeah, literally like I look like when it came to the end of my master's, or like I always decided I wanted to do placement because I was like, I never lived on campus, so it was first person.
Right. What was that like?
It was. You know. To be honest though, for most people think like, it must have been just like the worst thing ever. To be honest, like I was like, nah. I was like, I'm gonna enjoy myself. So I did. I was a part of committees. I did late night events. Like I didn't do any of the like Juicy Wednesdays or like the
They were never good. I'm sorry. Once Attic, Uxbridge closed down, GC Wednesday.
You know me. But what's funny about it is like no one's, like on a side note, no one's using that space. That's what generally I do. Like, so they left. And everyone's just like, oh yeah, cool, like they've left, but no one has purchased that space. And I'm just like, it's literally just chilling there.
So someone gives them funding to bring it back. Like, I mean, we're not there anymore, so it's not going to benefit us.
But no, so literally like, even like, I never went to Attic.
Wow.
Yeah, never went to Attic. Never went to any of the late night stuff. Like I only did like society late night stuff. Because literally like for me, like I was just like, cool, I don't mind like paying for an Uber on Addison Lee to like get me back home. I was like, if I want to do, I know that we're going to get kicked out of the space in like a couple of minutes, but going back to it, so for me, like living on campus wasn't like, I always just said I was going to get involved regardless. And that's literally the only reason why, like part of the reason, I would say only, I only did the professional development, but the reason why I also did a placement for both my placements, did it at Brunel, was because I was just like, I haven't, especially for my undergraduate, I was just like, if I leave Brunel now, I haven't really done much at Brunel.
Right.
So to just leave and be like, oh yeah, cool, like I'm out. I would have just been like, I literally just like, I could have just stayed, like I could have just done it online. I could have done the whole time online. So for me, I was just like, no, I've got to do some stuff. I've got to get involved. So my my undergraduate placement, I say, was like, even though I did stuff before, it was my big introduction to like Brunel. Like my manager, again, that was amazing because she helped, like she knew I wasn't living on campus and she was like, she got it. She was just like, oh yeah, if your parents don't want you lived on campus, like your parents don't want you live on campus. And again, African parents, Nigerian parents, there's not much I can do. But going on with that, I was literally just like, oh, because she was just like, oh, like if we've got like an early start the next day, like I'll try and see if we can get you to stay at the like hotel on campus.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was really nice.
Nice.
Even if like I stayed late, she would just like just come in a bit later. But she was just like, yeah, just get involved and stuff. And then obviously like, so I had this whole plan. I convinced my parents the first term to try and let me stay. They were just like, oh no, like we don't really see the need to. And then my plan was to just ease them down. So hopefully either by like halfway through the second term or by the last term, I would have convinced them. Obviously, that didn't happen because COVID hit. So I look back on it and I'm like, you know what? Probably was best that I didn't stay on campus. Because I would have been like, yeah, they would have been like, oh yeah, you can stay. And then literally within a few months, it would have been like, cool, so are you coming home? Yeah. But yeah, for my master's one, I was just like, you know what? I was like, I don't really see a point because I was just like, and I think especially I was like, I'm in my master's, like everyone, like most of the people that I knew when I was doing my undergraduate who were living on campus had all left Brunel. So I was just like, of like, there were people on my course that were there, but again, they only did, like I think one other person in my year did a placement. He did his outside of Brunel, so he wasn't even on campus. So literally I was like, if I was to stay on campus, like it would literally just be like, I'm coming for Freshers Fair and like, I'm new on campus.
Meeting everyone.
Exactly. So I was just like, you know what, like, let's just stay at home. But I was like, let's get involved in stuff still. So I still got involved in a lot of stuff. But yeah, it was, I look back on it and I'm just saying, like, I'd say like, if you are conscious of like, and I know like some people it's easier to stay on campus than others, but I'd say like just get involved. Like if you're gonna stay on campus, find someone you can stay over with because that's the cheaper option. Those Ubers, like, and also like for the longest part, like obviously there was people were concerned about Uber, so my sister just like used Addison Lee and stuff like that. Like when I say that hit the bank.
Addison Lee. That's
that hit the bank.
Sometimes just firm the Uber, firm the Bolt.
I look back and I'm just like,
that's like taxi service.
Yeah, man. It was nice though. You know, it's nice. You got free Wi-Fi, but
wait, really?
Yeah.
Maybe I need to start to get Addison Lee's. What?
Yeah, for Addison Lee's, I don't know if they still do it, but yeah, they used to give you like free Wi-Fi. But yeah, literally like for evening events, like I'd get there and I'd be like, cool, I'm chilling there. I'd leave maybe because obviously like the train still operated. I was like, well, that's a lie. When I was for some, I don't know, like, it was weird because they didn't always do it, but like sometimes they'd be like, you could get the train to Wembley Park with the Metropolitan line, but then afterwards they shut down all the way into central London, so you'd have to get the Jubilee line. So I was just like, and again, the Met line's unreliable, so I was like, you know what, I'll just firm like getting a Uber on Addison Lee. But yeah, no, man, I got involved. Like I did Christmas party. You have to, because like I was just like, I'm gonna walk out and just like be like, yeah, I went to Brunel, I just did my academics, I joined like maybe one or two societies, attended like a couple events, but I was just like, and left. I was like, what, like I'm paying, like, yeah, I'm paying it back now. So these man. Anyways, okay, I'm paying it back now. I'm just like, literally, I'm paying back all that like time like there. But I was like, if I walked out and I'm like, yeah, I'm basically paying like almost 28k because I did the placement year, and I'm just like, I just paid all of that to just like do academics,
your degree, and that's
I was like, I might as well have just done an online course and called it a day.
Yeah, you have to get involved in uni. Like, is so important. Like, as much as some people go to uni and they're like, I don't want to, just do it.
100%.
Yeah, you just gotta go for it, because you'll meet great people. Also, if you just do your degree, you'll be bored.
100%.
Please. You're
100%.
paying the 9k, so like get involved, do everything. Yeah. Join societies, do as much as you can, and you never know like where those things are going to lead you after leaving uni as well. Like, you never know who you're going to meet and like what opportunities you're going to have like after leaving uni.
100%.
Just because you joined that society or you went to that event, or like, and it's not necessarily like party events, like also like educational events, like if they have speakers coming in, like go to those things, because those are the things that are going to push you when you're outside, like when you finish uni, as well as just being like in uni. But yeah, man,
100%. And even like bring like literally like what you're saying, like it's only through networking and like just knowing like there, I wouldn't say like I'm not gonna gas myself up. Like I wasn't like bait on campus, but there was like a point where like, you know, I knew loads of people in different teams on campus for stuff. So people would be like, oh, like Jeffrey, I know you did this like for us before, like you, and like sometimes, like I said, it's all about that, because when you like, I think there's that tendency for people to feel like when they're at uni, like either it's like two things. So one, you either go into like a bubble, you're just like academics, and I'm out the door, or you go into the other and you just like become so engrossed of being like, oh, like Brunel's my, oh, like Brunel's life. My specific, but like that's my life. Like I can't leave there. I can't like explore the world. I can't do anything. And yeah, I think for me that's why also like with so like now I've left Brunel both as a student and a staff member, and again like I love making videos, so I made a video on that. Check it out, it's on our YouTube page. But yeah, 100%, like with that I was just like, no, like there's like a, not even like a world of work, but like, I was literally just like, there's so many people that I can meet outside of Brunel that if I'm just like so determined on, oh yeah, people know me, like I'm well known on campus, I was like, you know what, if I keep it up like this, like I'm just gonna like I'm not gonna go out, I'm not gonna try things. And I've said, you know, like I guess another piece of advice, like I've said, like when you are in your like when you're at uni, especially, but also when you just graduated, you can be let me rephrase, be wild, because like people might take that the wrong way. But what I mean, please don't take it the wrong way. Don't be crazy. Don't do like the wildest things. But I guess what I mean by that is like you can start a business. You can start trying to be a content creator. You can do all this stuff, and you can do it because there's no one that is like, especially if you're not like a carer, or you're not necessarily, someone's not dependent on your salary. Yeah. So like for me, I think like a lot of the stuff I did with the podcast and like the sustainability platform, like all this stuff, a lot of it I was like, I can afford to do because like I'm living at home. So I'm not worrying about necessarily rent. I'm not necessarily worrying about like, is this enough money to last me till the end of the month? I'm like, cool. I'm living at home. I know cooked meals are coming, so I'm like, cool. All I got to focus on is like just living comfortably and not spending like extravagantly. Yeah. But yeah, literally, it's like most people at uni, you don't have a family. Like you don't have like a wife and child. Like I said, you don't have a child. You might not necessarily, even if you are like renting a place, like you A, might have the option to go back to your family house if you needed to, but B, like you might be sharing with friends, you might not be. So you've got that like you've got that blanket of comfortability. So
exactly. And like you're young as well. Like this is like your prime time. Like I know, like I hear people saying it to me, like my mom saying it to me, you know, like this is the time. Also, like if you're starting a business or anything, like people want to see what young people are doing. So this is the time for you to just, as you said, go wild, but not in the wrong way. Like just I keep saying just do it.
No,
it's
but
like,
it's the truth.
But it's like the slogan of today. Like just do it.
Just do it. 100%. And yeah, sometimes like you will just like you will stumble, you will fall, you will fail. But like I think for me, it's like it's better to, I think like what we were saying about uni, like it's better to look back, and whether it's like to do with business, whether it's to do with uni, you look back and you're just like, I'm glad I did what I did. Like, I look back on it, I'm like, I'm glad, like, I did my placement. I look back on it, and like I said, my master's dissertation was tough. But it was, yeah.
Dissertation?
Yeah, but you know what, my undergraduate one, I loved my undergraduate one. Yeah, I love my undergraduate one.
You see, let me not... Because honestly, like, I'm trying to push the product and the business now, but dissertation, hey, design course, just do everything early, be really organised. If you think you're starting early, be earlier. It's never too early. It's never too early.
But no, 100%. Like, I look back on it, I'm just like, yeah, I would, like, I wouldn't have changed it. Like, I'm happy I went to Brunel, and I'm just like, if I didn't do the stuff that I did when I was at Brunel, I'm just like, I probably would look back on it and I would have just been like, I wasted like all that time. So now I look back on it, I'm just like, hey, I had a pretty good time. But yeah, I look back on it, I'm just like, like almost 6 years.
Wow. Even me, 4 years, I'm like, why did I stay there for 4 years? But 6 years, hey.
You know, I think I didn't even deep it, because it was only when I was leaving, I was just like, you know, when did I come to Brunel? I was like, I came in 2017. And I was like, 2017?
Wow.
Yeah.
2017?
Yeah. I was like, when was 2017? I was like, damn. That's kind of far, because for me, you know,
It is.
like generally, I think like my family talking about it, we were just like, it seems like everything before COVID was like a different time, like different.
It was.
It was just like its own thing, and I look back on it and I'm just like, damn, like 2017. I was like, you know what, 2017.
I was gonna say 2017. I was doing my GCSE. Oh my god!
Yeah, man, 2017.
Insane.
I remember that first day rocking up. Like,
first day of uni.
Yeah, man. I rocked up.
I remember the first day of uni.
I rocked up to my lecture thinking like, oh, because they said I didn't. Like I said, I knew nothing about my course. So when they said that it was a new course on the day, I was like, I had no idea about this. But I was
really,
yeah.
Everyone like, you didn't go to open day.
I didn't go to, like, I would say if you're like university wise, to bring it, go to the open day. Yeah. Like even if they do subject days, go to that, because for me, I was just like, I didn't even research. I barely researched my course. I was. Oh my god. Yeah, like 100%. Like,
just jump into the deep end.
Because I was like, I had no idea what I wanted to do, and then my physics teacher was just like, "Oh well, like, what do you like?" And I was like, "I like sustainability. I like that aspect of physics." Yeah. And he was like, "Just apply. Like, let's look for courses about sustainability." And I was like, "I don't want to leave London." Well, my parents didn't want me to leave London. And looking back on it, I was like, "I'm happy like to stay in London." But yeah, it was like, so I applied for Queen Mary's, Brunel, Middlesex, King's, and I've forgotten the other one. Middlesex, King's. I've forgotten the other one. There was another university. But I got into, so I got an offer from Brunel and Queen Mary. And yeah, literally, like, when it came to Brunel, like I said, I didn't research anything about the course. I knew it was new. Like, I was like, cool, let's just go. And then, so when I came the first day, I was expecting it to be like a massive lecture, you know, like all the American films. Like, I'm sitting at the back, and I literally rock up. You know those like small seminar rooms?
Yeah. Oh, it was in there.
It was in there. And I was like, generally, when I opened the door, I was like, I must have picked the wrong, like, I must have read the door number wrong. Like, I'm clearly not reading my timetable. And then they was like, oh, yeah, no, this is environmental science. And I was like,
where were the people?
Where the people at? And then, so like, obviously the day goes on, and like time goes on, like a few more people come. Like, so our first year of our course, there were 20 people on 20
people?
Yeah, so people just like, oh, like, how do you know, like, everyone? I was like, how do I know everyone on my course? There were 20 of us. Like, that's literally like a secondary school classroom, sixth form classroom. Yeah. I was like, there were 20 people on my course.
Crazy.
So I was literally just like, oh damn. Yeah, this is like, I knew everyone on our course. Like, I knew, like, you know, like, people just like, oh, like, you never know, like, there's that person that's missing from, like, you never see for the whole year, and then you're just like, they just pop out of nowhere. I was like, no, like, that, like, someone's not there, people. You know. Like, we had a group chat, you could literally just, you knew, like, there wasn't anyone missing from the group chat. Like, you knew, if someone wasn't there, you're just like, cool, I know, like, I know who's not there.
Wow, see, I thought my course was small, because my course, so we shared modules, like 3 courses, so product design, engineering, industrial design, and that was like, what, 95 people all together. I thought that was small.
20 people. And then by the
crazy.
end, so when I came back from my placement, I don't know what happened, but the year after mine, the recruitment wasn't as good as it should have been.
Mm-hmm.
So there were 4 people on that course.
Stop. And they ran it.
Yeah, they ran it. And what was even more interesting is so in my year, 2 of us did a placement year. So I think we started with 20. By the time end of second year, it got to about maybe like 16 or 17. And then we were just like, cool, that's everyone.
Yeah.
Came, like, everyone's about, like, literally come back. And I'm just like, oh, no, like, we must be, like, something's going on. Like, because they were just like, no, there's literally just 4 of us. And I was like, cool. So when we came back, I came back to uni and, like, we were doing all this online learning, people were just like, oh, like, were you able to, like, not attend lectures? Were you able to, like, keep, like, for the most part, I was able to keep my camera off because our lecturer didn't really care. But like, they were just like, oh, like, were you able to just like fade into the background? I was like, what background?
And they knew you by name, by face, like.
And like, so literally that first time, I remember clearly because like we had our first lecture and it wasn't even like, imagine when we even did combo ones, like that's when it would reach maybe like 10, 11. So when it was just our course, like our lecturer was just, and you know, it's worse when there's 4 of you. If the lecturer's just like, so what's the answer, guys?
And no one wants to say anything.
No one wants to say anything. You're just like this awkward silence. And there were many times where it was like that, and I was just like, oh, you know what? This is kind of awkward.
Oh no, poor people.
Poor people. So yeah, so literally, even like our graduation was online. So when they were reading it out, like my parents were just like, why didn't you like send like a picture of yourself? I was like, there's 4 of us, and I was like, it's an online graduation. Like they don't even need. Like it sounds harsh, but I was like, you didn't even need to like. You could just put all 4 of us on the screen. You didn't
at once.
It could have been like, these are the 4 that graduated from this course, next course. And I was just like, yeah, like this is nothing. But
that's insane.
Yeah, 4 people.
Yeah,
I definitely will. I'll talk about my university journey at some point. But yeah, man, 4 people. That just threw me off.
Wow.
But yeah. But yeah, before we wrap things up, I have to obviously mention it because I should have said it at the start. But you're a bit of celebrity, aren't you? Yeah.
What?
She's acting very humble. But yes, because you were posted on the university's Instagram page.
I was.
You were on the LinkedIn page.
Yes.
So yeah, so I'm in the presence of a celebrity here. Because you know what? Not everyone gets not everyone gets put on that page, you know. I joke about it. Like very quickly, I joke about it. You know, what Love Island was it? Was it 2021? Or 22.
Oh no!
Yeah, you know, for the Brunel's Instagram page, they posted that like 2 Brunel alumni,
Naz, and what was her name? Some other girl. Yeah.
But when they were on it, because literally, like I told my sister, I generally thought it was I was laughing when I saw it because I was like, oh, like they must be talking about. You know, it must be the student union doing it because I was like, oh, it's about students, you know, I get it. Like, it's a bit cheesy, but... And then I saw it was the university.
It was the uni.
And I was like...
They were proud.
I was like, Love Island, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, cool, man.
Yeah.
Some of us are out here trying to like, make a buck, trying to grow our businesses.
And you're posting Love Island.
You're posting Love Island, guys. Yeah. But I digress. Because, we've come to the end of the episode. It's been amazing speaking to you, Aphra.
Thanks for having me.
No, thank you for coming
really
on.
Good.
Obviously, people might want to know about the business. They might want to know the socials. They might even be watching saying, oh, you know, I'm looking to connect. I've got some angel investors who might be able to give some funding. What's the best way for them to do that?
So LinkedIn, Aphra Hallam, AphraHallam. Instagram _Affy_ is my main Instagram. My design Instagram is Aphra Designs, APHRA Designs. Yeah.
Perfect, cool. And thank you to you, our wonderful audience, for coming back to another. Also, before I do the outro, like that was amazing. Like you got the way you were just saying the name, the socials, just like rolling it off like an expert.
What is it like?
But no, you did it perfect. You did it perfectly.
Thank you.
But yeah, thank you to you, our wonderful audience, for coming back to another episode. Well, to our first episode of the Hustle Chronicles. For a minute, generally forgot the name. But thank you for coming back. If you like this episode, like, comment, subscribe. It's always appreciated. If you want to make sure you don't miss any of this episodes, please do click the notification bell at the bottom of the video. If you want to support us, check out the Patreon page. We can't do this without your support. It's £4 a month. You get exclusive perks, you get early access to episodes, you get loads of tons of cool stuff, so please do make sure you check it out. And finally, if you want to keep up with our other channels, as I've mentioned, we have 3 new YouTube channels that have broken off from the main Pick Up the Mic YouTube channel. So we've got Pick Up the Controller, which used to be Game On, where you can learn about gaming, you can see us play games. I know I've been teasing that, but we will be starting to do that, so don't worry. We've also got the 2 Maesters, which discuss everything from sci-fi, fantasy, I said everything from sci-fi, fantasy, historical dramas as well. They do a lot. So if you're looking for any of our comic book stuff, our sci-fi, if you're looking to learn about and catch up on Star Wars or anything like that, please do check it out. And finally, if you are interested in learning more, I genuinely forgot for a minute, but it's back. If you're interested in seeing our anime stuff, you're interested in anime, we've got anime, Senses of Anime. Genuinely, I'm so tired. Senses of Anime. Under the day, man. I know I usually I've got this down to a T, but yeah, Senses of Anime is an anime podcast. So if you're interested in learning more about anime, please do check out that. If you go to our main, if you click on our YouTube channel, you will see right at the top all 3 of them there. You can click on them, subscribe, click the notification bell as well, so you don't miss any of their videos, because they will be releasing stuff as it goes on. But with this, we'll be releasing this on a weekly basis for the most part. But yeah, that's we're gonna end the Hustle Chronicles there today. We're gonna see you next time when we have another entrepreneur on discussing their business. And yeah, well, I won't say it will be months, because like I said, we already got, it seems like we've got a Marvel episode planned, we've got a comic book episode planned. But yeah, we will see Aphra back on the entrepreneur side of things, where we will see how your journey has gone. Yeah. Discuss some more highs and lows. Discuss how life is doing for you. But yeah, that's a bye from us here. Enjoy your day. Speak to you soon. And yeah, all the best with your entrepreneurial activities. Yep.